Before we start, let me get this out of the way. YuXin is in the wrong business. I personally feel that they'd get a lot more attention if they started making jigsaw puzzles, because this thing is one of the worst things that anybody could be cursed with putting together, and I had to do it about 5 times. You'll notice that repetition is a bit of a theme in this review, which I'll tell like a story, because that's the only way it can possibly be told. Our main character in this story is a young, intelligent fellow by the name of Daniel Goodman. This young boy was very generously given the YuXin 6x6 from Lighttake, and it can be purchased there for $21.72 with the link in the description. Out of the box, he thought it was okay, but far from taking the place as his main of his relatively mediocre Moyu Aoshi. It felt sandy out of the box, and locked up quite a bit, although he definitely thought it had potential. He then had an earth-shattering discussion with his friend, Allison Lee, who gave him the seemingly excellent advice of replacing the springs in the YuXin 6x6 with Dion Pyraminx springs. He did this, experienced a cube explosion or two in the process, and soon discovered that it was a lie all along and he should not put that much trust in his friends. And neither should you. The end. No? I gotta keep going? Fine, whatever. As you may have inferred, the Dion Pyraminx springs greatly hindered the performance of the YuXin 6x6. Daniel Goodman was extremely disappointed and described it as a ridiculously light-turning cube. It was almost like one piece was leading the way and the others were only following along half-heartedly. It could barely corner cut, and it was, to put it bluntly, It was at that point that Daniel Goodman heard about the miraculous effects of YuXin 5x5 springs. However, this young boy was too cheap to order them from the Cubicle.us, so he decided to cut down his original YuXin 6x6 springs to the size of those of the YuXin 5x5, and put them in the cube. This made his cube quite bad, and he had practically given up on it at this point. It was more controllable than before, but it still locked up a lot. It had those Gans-type lockups, where it locked on small corner cuts. It wasn't going to be his main anytime soon. But then, one fateful day, he ordered YuXin 5x5 springs from the Cubicle.us. He put them in his cube, which took upwards of 80 minutes because while doing so he experienced 2 major pops. After finishing this and putting it on relatively tight tensions, the YuXin 6x6 became pretty good. It currently feels like a slowed down YuXin 5x5, although its speed is not a problem. It's basically the perfect speed for a 6x6. Corner cutting is reasonable at just under a piece, but if you go any more, it will get those annoying big cube lockups. This could likely be fixed with some tightening, but Daniel Goodman is stupid and doesn't like tight cubes, so that is not going to happen anytime soon. The lockups are quite frequent, but if you focus on having accurate turning, they won't happen. Pops do not happen much, although they likely could. So, it's far from perfect, but it seems to be among the best 6x6s on the market as of now. What does Daniel Goodman think about it? Let's find out. Oh, hi, I didn't see you there. I'd recommend this to anyone looking for a relatively cheap first 6x6, or anyone who may be looking for a smooth new main. I'd especially recommend this to you if you have accurate turning on big cubes. If you tend to over or undershoot, you might lock up a little too much on here. If you're happy with your Shengshao or your Aoshi, I think you should only get this 6x6 if it's your main event, and you just want to try something new that could possibly be a new main. However, I don't think this cube is worth it at all without the spring swap, so make sure to pick up some YuXin 5x5 springs while you're at it at the Cubicle.us. They're only an extra $1, and the cube is pretty much pointless without them. Also, I just broke my PB! I'm happy, so yeah. Cool, yeah, awesome cube. Get it.